Pokopia is a game I wasn't originally planning on playing. From early trailers, it looked like a Pokemon-flavored love child of Animal Crossing and Minecraft. I've loved Pokemon since I was a little kid, but I've been kind of disillusioned with the franchise for several years. I dabbled in Animal Crossing, but never got super deep into it, and I've never touched Minecraft at all. So when Pokopia was announced, it seemed like something that some people would enjoy, but probably wasn't for me, so I put it out of my mind. Cut to today, the game's been out for about a month, and not only did I buy it, I've put over 200 hours into this damn game. I bought a Switch 2 specifically to play it. I am in the process of building an entire fantasy village in this game. God help me. Anyway, in the process of building little homes for all my Pokemon, I at some point thought, what would Pokopia's cast of Pokemon NPCs look like as humans? I know the whole plot of the game is that all humans have mysteriously gone missing, and a funnier person would probably make some kind of joke about that here, but I'm a simple gal with simple pleasures. I like character design, I like Ajinkas, and I like Pokopia, so let's turn some Pokemon into humans. Now, there's over 300 Pokemon in Pokopia's Pokedex, but today we're focusing on the 7 main story-relevant NPCs with special designs unique to the game. I'll also be talking a little about the game and its story mechanics, so if you don't want spoilers, even minor ones, maybe come back once you've seen the credits roll. Otherwise, let's jump right into it. Professor Tangrowth is the first character you meet right at the start of the game. Aside from you, he's seemingly one of the only Pokemon still left in the world, on top of the fact that all the humans have basically up and vanished. And it's never stated outright how long exactly it's been, but he's implied to have been left to his own devices for a very, very long time. Decades, if not centuries. Yeah, fun fact, if you didn't know, Pokopia is a post-apocalypse game, and it does not hide this fact, which is wild, but I love it. Compared to a normal Tangrowth, his vines have gone white in places, he's got broken glasses around his, neck, and a TM on his head that looks like an old-timey doctor's reflective headband. He's a fun little design. For all these designs, I actually started in my sketchbook, printing off the official art of the characters, taping them in, and drawing my ideas around them to figure out what I wanted to do for each one. My first try at the professor was, kind of cursed. Don't look at this strange twink, I don't know who that is, but the rest of these did a good job at getting me closer to where I wanted to go. For the professor, I wanted to reflect his story and his design. He's not a madman by any means, but he's been on his loan for a long time and has maybe gone a little bit stir-crazy. Stopped brushing his hair a while ago and just let it go wild and curly. Grew out his beard because why would he need to shave? His glasses broke, but he's got no way to fix them. And his makeshift headband makes for a decent headlamp for exploring and looking for lost human artifacts. I gave him gloves to mirror the red parts of the vines that form his hands and a big lab coat because every good professor needs one. The question is that actually his, or did he find it somewhere among the wreckage left by humanity and just decided it was part of his wardrobe now? Who knows, really? Whatever the case, it's way too big on him. Tangrowths have a very big and rounded silhouette, so I tried to carry those shapes over into his human design. He's got a very round face and a chubbier frame, his curly hair is kind of going wild, he's got a big loose-fitting sweater and very baggy pants, and shoes with red soles to look like Tangrowth's weird little nub feet, which I had never noticed before doing these designs, and I love them. He's got little itty-bitty nub legs, look at them, oh! And on top of it all, he's got a cheerful vibe despite the horrors. He's a bit of an oddball, but he's happy to be here. Here's Professor Tangrowth, all done and dusted. For our second character, we're heading down to the beach because it's time for the one, the only Pikachu. A Pikachu who's pale and kind of sickly, unable to generate electricity after sharing so much of her own energy with her other electric-type friends. This was one that I struggled with a fair amount compared to some of the others, so let's get into it. In the game, she has a very distinct style of speaking and gives off the vibes of a very prim and proper little lady. I knew I wanted her human form to reflect this, so I thought to give her a nice dress, the kind you'd wear to afternoon tea, whatever that is. I originally thought about giving her a little capelet, but it made her look too goth in my sketches. I also tried giving her a sleeveless sundress since she's found in the beach environment, but something about it just wasn't hitting right. After doing some research, I ended up giving her a short and puffy sleeved dress, and I think this gets the right vibe across. Originally, she had a very plain dress skirt, but I decided to make it kind of a two-tiered ruffled skirt to add a little bit more flounce and visual detail. As for colors, Pikachu is mostly white, but I didn't want her outfit to be entirely stark white, so I added in some pale pink accents to match her pink cheeks, including a petticoat, pink shoes, and pink ribbons on her dress and in her hair. I gave her very pale, ashy blonde pigtails that get slightly darker around the tips to replicate Pikachu's ears. In my original sketches, these pigtails were a bit larger and more voluminous, but I toned down the shape to make them thinner and more reminiscent of the Pokemon she was based on. Since female Pikachu have that little heart shape on the end of their tails, I wanted to incorporate some of those into the design as well. I started with giving her pigtail ribbons and some bows on her dress with little ribbon tails that are the same heart shape, but also bunched the bows in such a way that they're sort of heart-shaped too, and I think it gets the point across. Put it all together and we've got a prim and proper Pikachu who's ready for a nice day at the beach. Third on our list for this video is Mosslax, a Snorlax who lost a fight, went to go take a really long nap about it, and woke up completely covered in moss. As someone who is also prone to taking midday naps, then waking up and having no idea what day it is, relatable. Mechanically, you can feed them every day for in-game buffs, and considering I'm trying to get all the crafting recipes so I stop running out of stuff like barrels and specific wall patterns, I am shoving bitter hamburger steaks down this guy's throat every morning. Eat your hamburgers, Mosslax. I started this design with a decent idea of where I wanted to take it. Snorlax sleeps a lot, so pajamas are a no-brainer. Combine that with a cozy hat to emulate the head shape and a big fluffy blanket over the shoulders, and we're already heading in the right direction. Mosslax's body has 2 shades of green, the lighter green on top and a wavy line separating it from the darker green at the bottom. I decided to recreate it with a pattern on their pajama top, which is actually more like a really big, loose sweater, but I sleep in that kind of stuff all the time when it gets cold, so whatever. Psst. Hey Pokemon Company, I have a merch idea for you. Make this sweater real, please. I will wear it during all 3 days of Texas winter. I debated putting a pattern on the pants to show that they're specifically pajama pants, but I figured it was a little too visually messy, so I ended up going with a solid color instead. One of my favorite parts of the design is actually the shoes. I considered giving them just, like, socks or something, but then realized Mosslax's feet remind me a lot of those fuzzy monster slippers you see kids wearing sometimes, and I figured that worked pretty well. For the head shape, like I said, I decided to give them one of those fuzzy little animal ear-esque hats with fuzzy ear flaps, and flowers as both the pom-poms and a little accessory at the top. And I gave them bangs to replicate this little triangle shape on Snorlax's face. Lastly, throw a big, extremely fuzzy blanket over the whole getup, and you've got a little guy who's cozy enough to hibernate for a century. Here's Mosslax. For our 4th character and the last of the beach trio, it's time for Smearguru. As an artist myself, I've got a soft spot for my fellow artsy types, and this guy's no exception. In-game, he's able to paint and recolor most of the objects you're using to build or decorate with, so you end up having to go back to him a lot to get the perfect aesthetic for your builds. Or if you're like me, making him live in a random patch of grass right next to whatever big project you're working on so you can drag him back whenever you need him to change the color of a table or whatever. This guy is probably sick of me. I've got him painting so many bricks. Of all the characters I designed for this video, Smearguru was the one I had the clearest mental image of before I even started drawing. I knew I wanted to turn his paintbrush tail into a big ol' mustache and ponytail that were splattered with ink, along with a fun artist outfit and apron with some more paint splatters. Once I had the base figured out, this one was pretty straightforward. I wanted to keep his outfit beige and brown to match the actual Pokemon's colors, although I did allow him some darker brown skinny jeans to get a wider range of values in there. I considered giving him a brown scarf to emulate the brown fluff thing he's got around his neck, but I ended up giving his sweater a turtleneck instead. It's not brown, but I wanted his apron to be brown, and having both a brown neck thing and a brown apron just kind of got messy looking. So I took some artistic liberties. I think he'd understand. I gave him a beige beret to match his sweater and some bracelets to emulate the stripes on his wrists, plus sandals to do the same for his feet. The face was where I had the most fun. In addition to a big floopy mustache and ponytail to emulate the paintbrush, I also gave him a little goatee and some swoopy bangs. I almost wonder if the bangs are too much swoopiness in one design, but I think he's got whimsy, so I can't complain. Anyway, here's the final Smearguru. Smearguru. I cannot say this guy's name. Next up, let's head to Rocky Ridges for our next 2 characters, starting with Chef Dente. As her name suggests, she's a chef who teaches you how to use the in-game cooking mechanics, which come in handy as you get further into the game. Catch me stockpiling potato hamburger steaks before heading into the Pokemetal mines. I will eat 50 of these before I resurface. Anyway, while you'd think this design would be pretty straightforward, she's actually the one I struggled with most out of any of these characters, so let's go ahead and get into it. So Chef Dente is a chef, obviously, with her big bushy tail where she keeps all her cooking implements. I knew I wanted to give her a big fluffy ponytail to emulate the fluffy squirrel tail, but I didn't think I wanted her to still keep the cooking utensils in her hair. Listen, maybe you can get away with that as a Pokemon, but I think that's a touch too far for a human design. We have standards in this restaurant, and you're gonna get hair in the soup. You're gonna get us put on kitchen nightmares, and Gordon Ramsay's gonna yell at me. I thought about giving her a utility belt of sorts for her utensils or a backpack or something, but everything I tried looked a little too messy, so she can just hold them, it's fine. Her outfit is a pretty straightforward chef's outfit, not a lot to say there, but I did have a, kind of stupid moment when figuring out her hat. In her original design, she wears this big pot on her head, and I kept thinking, well, human don't wear pot on head. How I keep that shape while not have pot on head? And I kept trying to give her a bandana or a headband or some other kind of hair accessory for a long time before remembering that chef hats are a thing that exist, which, in hindsight, the shape of the pot is pretty obviously meant to be alluding to. Listen, I may be stupid. Don't look at me. Look at the cute squirrel girl chef. She's adorable, and she hides snacks in her fanny pack. We love that for her. Anyway, here's Chef Dente. We're moving on. Side note, but I did also at one point try to give her a cowboy chef's hat because she reads as being very southern to me. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was fun and silly and wanted to mention it. Moving along. Next up, character 2 of the Rocky Ridges duo, it's DJ Rotom dropping some sick beats. After how difficult Chef Dente was, this guy felt like an easy walk in the park, so let's talk about him. In my initial sketches, I had a pretty clear image in my head for this guy right off the bat. I got a lot of style inspiration for him from Raihan from Sword and Shield. Big stylish jacket with sport shorts and cool shoes. The kind of outfit a really cool DJ might wear to a club. I don't know what DJ's wearing. I don't go to clubs. Be so nice to me. I wanted to emulate the soundbar on his Pokemon design as a pair of glasses, like the type you'd see people wearing at a convention or a rave. Plus, headphones that looked kind of like Rotom's eyes with the green in the center and the white outlines. Overall, this guy came together pretty painlessly, with one exception I'll circle back to. Apart from the glasses, my favorite part is probably the jacket. I wanted the center to be orange to look like Rotom's main body, and black sleeves with round patches to look like the speakers. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with his lower half, so I just kind of phoned it in, went with the flow, and used similar colors to the jacket. His gloves are mostly for fashion, but who knows, maybe he's got a drawing tablet stashed somewhere that would call for using an art glove. And as an extra tiny detail, I gave him some little patches of facial hair to look like the squares of a sound equalizer. Where I struggled the most was his hair. DJ Rotom has this little music note, electric dialogue bubble thing, and I wanted to incorporate that into the design somehow. My first thought was giving him a ponytail in a similar shape, but it, looked kind of stupid. Thankfully, Rotom Enjoyer and friend of the channel Ray Spark suggested giving him some kind of hair tie or ribbon with that shape, and that brought the whole thing together in the end. Thanks, Ray! As a last thing, I originally did yellow for his jacket cuffs, but later tried out a version with the same green as his glasses and headphones, and I think I like them both, but I'm curious, which do you guys prefer? Let me know in the comments, I'm torn. Here's both versions side by side. Aside from that, here's DJ Rotom all finished. Last but certainly not least, our final character of the video is Tinkmaster. A Tinkaton highly skilled at building massive structures, she helps out with a lot of reconstruction projects in the game's final area. She's also very handy because her special ability lets her finish builds much faster than other Pokemon, so she's another one I end up dragging around with me a lot. I need this pile of rocks and twigs to be turned into a fully fledged house in 1 hour. Make it happen, people! While her design wasn't too hard to figure out, I definitely went through several iterations of each major part of the design, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do with it. Lots of back and forth trying to get the vibes exactly right before moving on to the digital version. For obvious reasons, I very much wanted her to have construction worker vibes, and gave her a hot pink jumpsuit with the sleeves ripped off to show off her muscles. She's a master builder, she'd be ripped as hell, let her show off the gun show as a treat. I also gave her an undershirt and let the jumpsuit be more open in the front because... okay, I cannot explain why, but as I was designing her, I kept thinking that she should have big titties. But not even in a sexy way necessarily, I just felt like it made sense for her character. I don't have to defend myself, I think she's neat. I gave her a Tinkagear necklace to add a bit more detail, a patch on her knee to show that she's a little rough and tumble, steel-toed boots, a Hachimaki headband, and big white gloves that match the white arms her Pokemon design has. The biggest liberty I took in changing her design was giving her huge braids instead of the smooth sorta ponytail she has as a Pokemon. I like the silhouette better and it made her look a little less smooth, I guess. I think it works nicely. All that said, here's our Tinkmaster. I would trust her with my life. And all that said, there's all 7 major NPCs in Pokopia as humans. Which one's your favorite? Have you played Pokopia yet? What's your favorite project you've built or one you've seen someone else make? I've gotten, very into the building and decorating parts of the game, and I'm currently working on a fantasy village filled with buildings inspired by both Cast Off and Azure Mirage, occupied by Pokemon that I feel represent my OCs well. If you're interested in seeing that, I'll be doing a live stream not long after this video goes up and giving a tour of all my builds so far, so link for that will be down in the description. If you liked this video and want to see me do more of this type in the future, let me know down in the comments. I'm always eager to hear y'all's thoughts. Lastly, if you want to support the channel and my many other creative endeavors, please consider checking out my Patreon. You can get videos early and your name in my credits, among many other goodies. A huge thank you to all my patrons for their support, and special thanks as always to my video shout-out tier patrons, Holly, Mr. Donmatsu, Leaf, Alyssa Herzog, Neon Valkyrie, and Sammy Katz. Thank you once again for helping to sponsor a Switch 2 and a copy of Pokopia, which can now be written off as a business expense because I made this video. Yippee! Anyway, that's all for this one. Fare thee well, friends, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!